Hi guys, welcome again to another crash course. This crash course is all about RTK Query. So RTK Query was built by Redux Toolkit from scratch, and it is a powerful data fetching and caching tool. So in this crash course, I will show you how to fetch the data from the backend via an API. And RTK Query allow us to write a lot less code compared to the other Redux methods. And without further ado, let's jump into it. Alright, now let's just take a look at the overview of RTK Query. It is a powerful data fetching and the caching tool. It is designed to simplify by eliminating the need to handwrite data fetching and caching logic yourself. So the RTK Query, it is an optional add-on added to the Redux Toolkit package. So what does that mean? That means that we are not required to use the RTK Query API when we have already installed the Redux Toolkit. So that's the benefit of using the Redux Toolkit. It just comes this by default. And now let's just take a look here. So this is what I have currently, which referring to the Redux crash course. So here, these are all of the code. I will quickly go through this, and then we try to remove the code that are not necessary. So here, this is inside the action folders, the index.js. We have these two actions defined. One is at pet increment, and the other one is pet decrement. And inside the reducers folder, we have the pet counter, which as seen here. This is the switch case, and then the index.js inside the reducer folder. We have two reducer. One is the pet counter and the other one is pet favorite, and we use this combine reducer to combine these two reducer together. Then we export it down here, and next this will be the index.js. So I have created a store here with the create store, and this is the dev2 extensions when we use this with Chrome. And we also have import the reducer here as well. So then we just wrap the store around the component. Currently I only have one component called app, and right here we can start using this state here. So here you can see we use the use selector and use this patch down here. Then right here we just show a button with the information here, which basically you can see here. So that this is what we had previously. Now let me just try to update this as well. So I'll say this to welcome to React Redux Toolkit RTK Query, just like that. And then I'll remove all of the code here. These are not required as well. Let's just quickly save that and take a look here again. So this is what we have, the welcome to React Redux Toolkit RTK Query. Now let's go back here. So the action and the reducer, they are not required as well. So remove this with the reducer here. Right, everything remove. And the store, let's just comment this for now with this as well. And with the provider on top here, let's just comment this reducer not required. Actually, this is not required. Let's just comment this one as well. So what I'm going to do next is to install the library. So this is the library that I'll need to install, called Redux.js/toolkit. So let's just quickly copy this. Click on that, go back here, terminate this pressing on Ctrl+C and Y, and then paste it here. So this is the command. Press enter key. Alright, so it has been installed and I have already restart the application. Okay, so the next step here is to create a folder. So a new folder, I'll call this as services. And inside the services folder, I'll create a new file. So I'll call this as user.js. Basically, what I'm going to do is to fetch a list of user from this JSON placeholder. So right here, when I scroll down, you can see that this is the endpoint that will give us the list of 10 users. And now let me just close this so this not required. Okay, so let's come back here. All right, so now I'll need to import the basically this is the create API, and I need to import the fetch base query from the library that we installed, which is the Redux.js toolkit /query/React. So this is the add-on, right? And down here, let's just define the service using the base URL and the expected endpoint. So this, let me just export const. I'll call this as users API equal to create API, which import up here. And I'll just need to use the user path. I'll call this as users for now. And the base query, we use the fetch base query that import up here as well. So inside this here, we need to provide the base URL. So right here, I just come here and then copy the front part here. So this is the base URL, right? And here, this is /user that we define down here. But for now, let's just keep it like this. So this is the base URL. And down here, this will be the endpoints. So for the endpoint, let's just use the builder. And inside here, let's just use the, call it as a get users. And the builder that we specify up here, right? Dot query. And this will be query. And the endpoint, which is the /users. So we can just write like this. You can also write /user like this, or you can just get rid of it. Simply just write users, and it will still work fine. So now we need to export the hook for usage in the functional component that are basically auto-generated based on the defined endpoint up here. So let's just export this. Export const. What is this? This is the use get users query equal to the users API. Okay, should look like this. And save that. Okay, so for this one here, this is the format that you have to use. Basically, end it with the query here. Okay, so now we have done defining the services, which is the users. Next, let's create a new folder. So inside the source folder, I create a new one folder called app folder, and inside this folder, this will be store.js. So this we need to import the configure store from Redux.js/toolkit, or you can also use the /query and then /react. So you can do either way. Now let me just keep this one here. And next, just import the setup listeners from the Redux.js toolkit here /query like that. Next, let's just import the users API from the services /user, which basically this one here. And now let's just export the const store with the configure store that we imported up here. And we just need to define the reducers, and basically we need to add the generated user as the top level slide. So this will be the users API dot reuser path, and this will be the users API dot reuser, like that. So the reuser path here, so right here we still remember we basically define it as users, and for this API dot reusers that we have to add. Okay, so down here let's start importing the middleware. So this will be middleware and get default middleware that we will need to use. This will be get default middleware dot concat users API dot middleware. Okay, so we basically add the API middleware to enable the caching, invalidation, pooling, and more features. Okay, so down here, this is the optional step. Basically, for this one, it is required for using this behavior, such as the refetch on focus or refetch on reconnect. So this is optional anyway, but I want to show you, you can do something like this. So set up listeners, this will be store dot dispatch, like that, which we imported up here. Now go to the index.js. So what am I doing now? Basically, we need to import the provider. So let's just uncomment this one out. And the other one, which is importing the store. So this coming from the app folder, and inside the app folder, which is the store. All right. And let me just remove this because we no longer require that. Same for this one. So I just need to uncomment this. So this time the store is coming from the /app/store. Okay, so now we can start using this. So to start using this, I need to import the get user query from services folder, and here this is the user. All right, would look like that. And inside the app component here, we'll need to start using the query hook that automatically fetch the data and return the query values. So to define that, this will be const data error. What else? We will have the is loading, is success. We also have the is error equal to use get user query, like that. Quickly save that. So for the data here, so this will return us a list of users. So the error here, so what the error message is, and is loading, whether it is still fetching the data, and if it's successfully fetched, and this is if it contains error, then it also let us know as well. So this is not something that we can manually type. It's come from the get user query by default, right? So now we can start using it down here. Let me say if it is still loading. If that's true, then I want to show the text saying loading. Otherwise, down here, if there's an error, if I spell that correctly, if that error is true, then I want to show the error message to the screen. So this will be error.message. And down here, if it successfully fetched the data, so it will be is success, and the data is not empty, basically mean that we have the list of users. Now we can start looping the data.map. So here this will be the user. So this will be user. I want to show it in the h1 tag, and this will be the showing the username. So this will be user.name. It would look like that. And the thing is that when we using this, it will require us to also define the key property as well. So I can either do like users.id, or I can also do wrap this in a bracket with the the index, then I replace this, would look like that, or you can just use this. Okay, now let's try and see if it is working. So right here, let's quickly refresh this. Okay, so here I get an error message saying the actions must be plan object, and here inside the store.js, this is not the function. Let's just get it off that and take a look again. Refresh. Okay, so now it is working. Here you can see that when I refresh that, you can see a small letter saying loading because it's still fetching the data. So here you can see once that done fetching, it just show me a list of users. And what happened when I try to change the endpoint to something else that is not or doesn't exist at all. So let's just do that here. Quickly save it and refresh. So loading, and now you can see it failed to fetch the data. Okay, so that means it is working. And what about if I want to also add the slash in front of the users, see if it is still working or not. Let's just do that here and refresh that. As you guys can see, it is still working. So this is optional. And also I want to mention that for the endpoint here, so what if you have another endpoint? How do you define it? Well, basically you can just right here, let's just say you have the you want to get like a particular or individual user, right? So you can just define it down here saying like get user, and this will be builder.query, and down here this will be query, and this will be the ID that you will need to provide, and inside here this will be the users class and the ID that you will need to provide. Okay, so in case you want to get the individual users, so this is the format that you will need to use. And down here you will then need to do get user query, look like that, and you can start using it. Alright, so I just get rid of this because I just want to show you that you can do something like this if you want to. Okay, just a quick one here. I want to see what is showing in the Redux Dev tool. So I press on F12 on the keyboard. And now let's just go to the Redux here. Okay, let me just expand this. And refresh the page. And here you can see first it showing that this is the middleware register. It turned from false to true because that is now register. And the next step here is the pending. So the query here, it says that the status is pending. What it does is now fetching the data to the backend and still waiting for that. So once that's successfully fetched, or right here we get a list of users, it changed the status from pending to fulfill and with the list of users. So this containing the 10 users. And it also right here specify the fulfill timestamp with this here as well. So what happened when I try to change the endpoint to something else that doesn't exist? Let's just do that again here. And coming back here, let's just quickly refresh. And here you can see it does the same thing, the middleware register to true, pending, and but this one here, it just show me the status of rejected. So it also contained the error message as well, saying that it is failed to fetch. Okay, so this is if you want to see what happening, the stage of fetching the data, then you can also see it here using the Redux Dev tool. So that basically it, guys. So this is how we use the RTK query with the Redux Toolkit, and you can see that the code that we write, which is only these few lines of codes, and then that's done. And yep, that's all. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Until then, see you guys in the next video.